So how do you own your online marketplace? And that's kind of the overall goal that we ask ourselves. And the tactics for this do change, but this is the goal. And so dominating your online marketplace is what your marketing efforts should focus on. And these 7 tactics are going to help you get there. For us at our company, we have a method to accomplish this goal. We call it our digital dominance method. So of those 7 tactics, we're going to dip into some of these areas, with 2 tactics, some of them with 1, some of them with none. And that can be a conversation for another day. So we're not going to hit, again, everything we do today. Excuse me, but this is kind of the roadmap. This is the play. This is the methodology that we've developed after, I think our first year in business was in 2008, late 2008, early 2009. We've been doing this for a long time. The internet and digital marketing has changed a lot in the last 15 to 17 years. So this will change, but the methodology aiming at dominating online will not. And this is, I think, something that when you're putting this hat on in your business, you just want to have a game plan that's addressing all of these areas. And so again, we're going to dip into some of them today, and others we do on other presentations, and we can certainly dip into anything we don't cover today more fully on a call with you. Okay, so strategy number 1 is my favorite. So it's first, maybe because this is what I like to talk about the most. This is, I think I can safely say, my area of expertise. It's my foremost area of expertise, I should say, and it's your Google business profile. And so we're going to talk about strategy number 1, which is optimizing that profile and getting reviews. While I've still got your attention early on in the webinar, if you're still here and tracking with us, if you really only focus on this one strategy, I think you're leaving today with a lot of value. Because as it relates to dominating your online marketplace, as things stand right now, we're really talking about Google first. You need traffic, right? Before your marketing efforts work, as in what we do on your website, what we do with email follow-up, what we do on social media or anywhere else. We first have to ask the question, can we get, people to see you? Are you visible, or are you completely anonymous? And so a huge part of not being anonymous is to deal with your Google business profile. Now, some of you are going to know what that is and already have one. Some of you are going to be like, what is a Google business profile? And so business.google.com. This is where you go to claim your profile. And if you already have it, to optimize it. So kind of implicit in optimizing a profile is that you already have it. So you might have a profile but not have access. You might need to make a new profile, and that's a whole process in and of itself. But I'm just going to pretend you already have one, and I'm going to pretend you already have access to it so that I can focus on this tactic and strategy to help you get better results. And so optimization of your Google business profile, I'm going to make that really clear. There's a back end to this profile, and it's going to have things like your website address, your phone number, your hours you're open, like really basic information. But then there's also some things that Google is not highlighting for you in terms of their importance, and yet are insanely important with whether you show up or not. These 2 elements, besides how your website's built, are the biggest elements related to whether you show up. How did you optimize your Google business profile, if you did at all? And are you getting reviews? And so let's look at a profile. This is a profile, a mock-up of one, just to try and make the case to you of or not make the case, to give an illustration to you of what a well-optimized Google business profile is. And so this is screenshot number 1, 2, and 3. This is like a vertical view. I just had to cut the image into 3, slices so that it would fit on the page. But this is a client's Google business profile. And I just want to point out a couple of things. This is the front end view that is resulting from back end changes. You see these products, right? So we're using the products tab to add our customer services. You see these categories right here and right here. These are insanely important because these are the fixed categories that Google has a finite list on, right? So they don't have an unlimited amount of categories for you to choose. They do let you kind of choose your own adventure with your services. This is you telling Google what areas of business you operate in. This is you kind of telling your potential customers and leads what you offer. It's different. They both matter. This is more important than this, right? Is my cursor showing up to you guys when I'm moving it around? I just want to make sure. Or maybe, can I click? No, are you seeing my mouse?
No, I don't see that, Christian.
Oh, darn. Okay, I felt like I was drawing with my mouse and I wasn't sure if people could see. Don't worry about it. You see categories in that middle image at the top. That's the finite list that Google says, hey, here's all the business categories that exist. that you could potentially tag yourself in. Oh, there, look at you. Someone's coloring for me.
Look at me. That's me. I found a thing. It said draw, so I clicked on it.
Oh, I think I'm going to click it too. Okay. Am I drawing now? Look at that. We're both drawing. This is great. They don't pay us for our, graphic design skills here, but we're going to do our best, guys. So categories and products are highlighted. I'm also going to point out reviews. This little area down here only shows up when you have recent reviews. This area over here is content that we're posting for our clients on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. These are all things in addition to have your hours, right? Have your address so you can get directions if that's applicable. Add photos. All of these are back-end things that we've done. And because of that, you're sending more signals to Google. They're going to like you more. And guess what? In any area I talk about for the next hour, we're going to just assume, or I'm going to tell you that you should assume, everyone in your market, everyone in this industry, by and large, there are exceptions, but by and large, struggles to do everything in any area of digital marketing completely well. The idea with digital marketing, to me, for our industry, is that some people have one eye open and some people have both eyes shut. There's not many people that have both eyes open. There's not many people that are doing everything. And so when you properly optimize your Google business profile with your categories, your services, you're getting reviews, you've got your basic information, and you're posting content, you can post content to this profile just like you can to Facebook, right? All of that is going to result in a lot of positive signals to Google, and that's what an algorithm is looking for, is signals. So these are signals off of your site onto your Google business profile that makes Google happy. And that's what we want, is we want Google to like you. This is not paid advertising. This is for free, getting your Google profile to show up in your local market. It is local, but we'll come back to that later. So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is, or let me say, strategy number 1B is to get reviews. And so some of you have a profile and maybe you've got 5 reviews. And I actually talked with a gal yesterday. She was down in Florida. She was in Tallahassee. She's doing tax planning and she's got 5 reviews. And she was still telling me, like, Christian, I want to work with you. And she did sign up, but she said that she's even still with only 5 reviews, actually getting some leads from Google. Again, back to having only one eye open. But the thing Google's looking for is more than that. They're looking for not just, having a couple of reviews, or maybe not even just having 100 reviews. It's not just about your total review count. It's about frequency, recency, and the content. So the star rating and the total reviews does matter. But back to the guy I described at the top up in Fargo, North Dakota, he doesn't have more reviews than people in his market overall. But what he has is more reviews in a recent time frame. And that is a what have you done for me lately attitude from Google. And for us, here's the demo side of this webinar. For our clients, we have a service called Client Stack. That's a CRM, but it also serves, email and texting, kind of broadcasts and messaging function and service for our clients as well. And we have a review generation function in Client Stack that our guy in Fargo, North Dakota used, that Noah's actually got a bunch of examples of, I asked him from the last month, people that have used and gotten reviews consistently. Because if you ask your happy clients to leave you feedback, they will. They just won't do it on their own. So here's the tactic. Optimize your Google business profile and have a plan to get reviews from your happy customers, because getting those happy customers to leave you a 5-star review with, oh my God, Noah's tax services is like the greatest and he's so good at what he does. And he also does my tax planning and bookkeeping. Like, Google eats that stuff up and it will help you rank. So you don't actually have to get more reviews on Google. It's not a bad idea to try to aim at that, but it's about frequency and recency. And I would say content. So a review with content is better. But your tactic here, kind of mingling the education side with the tactic, is you need a plan that you don't have to think about to get reviews from happy customers. I recommend you ask for that review when they're receiving some deliverable from you, when you're offering services. Like, it's actually like an email, like, hey, we're done with your taxes, or your books are ready to review. Hey, would you also take time to leave us a review on Google? That's something you must do. Unhappy people go out of their way to leave negative feedback. Happy people just go along with their day. So you must prompt it, you must follow up, you must engage, and you don't need 100% of people you ask for a review to leave you a review. You probably need 10 to 25%. It's a numbers game. Because again, everyone struggles with this. Everyone struggles with getting reviews. But if you can squeeze one more thing into your kind of business rhythm of how you serve your clients and how you operate your firm, whether it's something you do yourself, if you're a solopreneur, or if you have a team you can use to delegate, getting reviews regularly is, if everything else is equal, you've got the best site. You've got an optimized Google business page. You're posting to Facebook, and it's you and someone else with the same strategy. The person who get reviews will run laps around the competition because Google emphasizes reviews a lot. So all I know and all we know is that you need to get more reviews. I've got some other data here on reviews that I'm going to leave for you to digest on your own or talk with us about in a session, because I want to go to strategy 2. And we've also got content here to show, what happens when we had a client get 44 reviews in like a 90-day period, and how many calls did they get and views did they get. There's lots of case study data here. We can talk about that later. It's here for you to review. But Noah, I'm going to kick it to you, and I'll probably interject a little bit because I like websites too, but let's go to strategy 2 about how to build your website and build it on WordPress. So floor's yours, buddy.
Thanks, man. So gosh, and guys, we could riff on reviews for forever. I'm not going to add any more to what Christian said, but just get them. Just please trust us. Take our word for that. But here's the other thing. When you start looking at websites, you have to understand that not all websites are created equal. There is a hierarchy on what websites Google will prefer and why it prefers those certain websites. So it is really easy to go to a template-based website service and fill in the blank. Please hear me. I'm not hating on these services, but GoDaddy Site Builder or Wix or Squarespace. Okay, they're easy, they're cost-effective. You don't have to have your PhD in website coding to be able to use them. So there's a lot of pros, but those sites also aren't going to rank well in Google. They're going to really act more as a digital business card. And if you're okay with that, then that's okay. But there's kind of two philosophies on web development. A website can either act more like a digital business card, meaning it's a landing pad. It's a place where your clients could find you. Or a website can be lead generating. It can drive traffic and it can convert that traffic. We take the latter stance, and that's why your website has to be built out on WordPress. Yes. WordPress is, we could go into a lot of detail on why WordPress ranks higher. It kind of goes back to the blogging days. That was really like foundation of being able to really custom build out a website to make it do what you want it to do. But it really comes down to, do you have unique coding? So now let's talk about SEO. And I wish we could do a raise of hands of who, when they hear SEO, does that term kind of scare you a little bit? Because it's kind of turned into this gray area in society of like, oh, you need SEO. And it's like, cool, I need SEO. What does that mean? What in the world? Okay, search engine optimization. How do you optimize a search engine? That doesn't make any sense. So let's break it down just a little bit. There's kind of two main types of SEO. There's off-site SEO. Okay, that's going to be your Google profile, reviews, keywords. There's a lot that goes into that. And then there's what's called on-site SEO. Guys, this is your website. So it's not, do you have a website? It's, how is the website coded? What about the backend, the metadata, the tags, the plugins? There's a lot that goes in there that can get you to rank well for the right things. But then it also has to do what is actually being put on your website. Part of on-site SEO is something called keyword optimization. You have to have the right keywords consistently going into your website. And I do not mean throwing up a generic one-size-fits-all AI written blog. Not what I mean. We're talking uniquely written content designed specifically for the type searches you're trying to get seen for. So if you're a business and you're a CPA and you work with businesses, bookkeeping, accounting, but you really don't want to do 1040 taxes for individuals, guess what? If you have individual tax focused content on your website, it might rank for that. You don't necessarily want that. Okay. So you have to optimize your website to rank well. You have to be putting keywords. You have to be keeping it updated, but then you have to have a way for it to convert. You have to have a way to start a conversation. And if you think about your website and you think about what is it that someone is supposed to do when they come to my website?
I was trying to find if we had an image
Sorry,
of a
I'm
website.
still riffing on some other stuff.
No. I thought we had an image of a site.
That's going back to conversion and all those different
good.
things. So, but is there a clear way for someone to get their information to you? Most people have to, that top right corner, they go to a little contact page way up there. Nobody's ever going to go to that. Some people do, but not consistently, not in a quantifiable matter. But let's talk about content a little bit more. We already talked about this. Not all websites. Okay. We need it to look good, but we also want it to perform. Christian, you want to add anything on this?
Yeah. That conversion mechanism is really important, because when someone's on your site, you have to ask the question, what do I want them to do next? And what you want them to do next is give you their information. And there's elegant, good ways to do that. And then there's kind of clunky, bad ways to do that. So if your website right now isn't ranking at all, then it's probably because it's not on WordPress and it's not optimized on the back end, and you're not feeding the algorithm new blogs like Noah said. I would say the big takeaway there is websites built on WordPress perform better than websites built on any other platform. Even if you're not going to be a wizard, it's still better to be there than anywhere else.
And Christian, I just peeked ahead in a minute. We are talking about conversion in just a second.
Oh, good.
I knew it. See, guys, we know what we're doing.
We know what we're doing. Okay, but what content should be on your site, which also is going to grate against the generic templatized content that most websites in our industry have. Google is looking for your website content to have expertise, authority, and trust, and their algorithm measures that. So you don't need to be like Shakespeare, right? Writing soliloquies. Look at that. I've never used soliloquies properly in a webinar in my life. And hey, you guys, there you go. It wasn't on my bingo card today, but 10-point word. You don't need to be a guru for content writing. What you do need to do is not have the same thing as everyone else. So we have to customize our client sites to them as we build them. We have to personalize them so that we're not hitting some duplicate content flag. And what's actually a lot easier, if I'm a marketing agency, to have a template with duplicate content. What takes time and has more, expense and cost in my agency? Hiring writers is expensive. And so most website marketing firms in our industry that would build you a site are going to slap together the same site as 10,000 other people. And that just doesn't make Google happy. So you don't have to want to grow by like leaps and bounds, but if you want to grow at all, you shoot yourself in the foot just a little bit, a lot bit, truly, by having the exact same content as everyone else. And that's just one of the things that, like, there are people in our industry that are doing really, really elegant, savvy digital marketing. It's just not the norm. Most people are like, well, you know what? I'm kind of growing based on referrals. I don't necessarily need to have like a big marketing presence. I'm too busy. Like, I actually hear that more than anything. I'm too busy. So why do I need more leads? And that can be true for you. But for those of you that are like, actually, I do want to grow, you want to address, is my website designed for growth? And some of that is, what's the platform? If it's not WordPress, I think that's a problem. And if your content is duplicated, I think that's a problem. So again, you don't need to custom write everything and stay up into the late hours of the night, trying to learn how to be an excellent content writer. But you do need to go a step beyond duplicated content, because that's maybe what you have right now. That doesn't work well. A conversion mechanism for your site. So this is just an example. The questions on our survey change, but this is just a look at a client of ours. And when you're on their site, what happens? I'm going to ask them, depending on what our client's focused on, do you own a business? Do you owe back taxes? Do you have an in-house bookkeeper? Do you need help with tax planning? What's your biggest area that you need help with right now? And then name, email, and phone number. So it's a sliding questionnaire. Now, some of you might have all of these questions similarly laid out, but it's like that big kind of fat blank contact form where it's like name, reason for an inquiry, and my email and my phone number, and then maybe a couple of other details. And people don't tend to fill that out. So when you're at the top of your site, mystery shop your site. Is it easy to know how to take the next step? And if it's not, I would suggest to you that that's a gap. So let's presuppose you're getting traffic, right? You're ranking on Google. You got a bunch of reviews. Your site's on WordPress. People are finding you. Good job. The next step is, well, traffic is good, but traffic's not a client. So how do I get a client? Some people won't even visit your site. They'll see the good reviews and they'll call you. That's a good outcome. Other leads will go to your site. And now we have to ask the question, how do I get them to do the next thing? And what is the next thing? And for us, most of our clients are not excited about pre-qualifying all of their leads via like a contact form that's like, here's my business name, my email, and a brief message. They want to get a little more granular of like, is this a good fit for me or not? Whether that's a volume play, like we're going after tax preparation, or if that's like hyper niched. I talked to a guy last week that wants to do audits for nonprofits. Well, wouldn't it be smart of us to build questions on the front end that help him see if he's going to get an audit work or a lead that would be for audit work for a nonprofit? So we should probably ask, like, do you own a nonprofit? Yes or no? Those little things seem obvious, but really actually are elegant and powerful because they're intentional. And so be intentional on your site. Have a plan for the journey that you want to take leads through. And you can use this kind of survey sliding questionnaire style and change the question. That's fine. But I would just say, if you're getting traffic, the next part of your site and your strategy should be to get engagement. You can use video for this as well, like supplemented with this survey, right? So videos on website, it's a great idea. Again, you don't need to go to a video studio, which I'm actually in right now. Like, we've got a video studio at our office. It's really nice. I can shoot really professional quality stuff here. You don't need to do that. You need to be sitting at your desk and just be normal, yourself, and just talk about, hey, I love helping clients like this. I'm really good at X. I want to talk about these things, or I've got this experience. You just want to kind of like, you don't need to get all, I don't know, polished or proper. You want to be clear with your video, but you don't have to like overthink it. If you want to pay a videographer, sure, that's fine. iPhone cameras and Androids are good enough to shoot good quality videos if you've got something to keep it stationary. And I would just say there's some not diminishing return or value, but like it's that 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the value is going to be from like 20% of the work. Just having a video, just having a survey, even if it's not perfect, is going to deliver 80% of the value, unless it's just really, really terrible, which I don't think any of you would do. And so if you have a video and if you have a clear mechanism that says, here's what I want you to do next, I think you're moving the right direction. Now, for us, this also syncs with our email follow-up. So we write weekly emails for our clients. I think we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And so when we get a lead for our client from their site, there's automatic follow-up. And then there's ongoing weekly nurture content that we write as well. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this goes from traffic to some engagement. They've converted, right? We've got their information. They've given us their information on their business or their life, whatever they're needing help with. And now we're following up. Now we're building trust. We've got good reviews and we're writing good emails. Now you're building a marketing system, right? So that's kind of like, I love Google and I love SEO and I love getting traffic, but there is a lot more to marketing than that. So we'll get there next. And Noah, I think I'll kick it to you. Here's another example. Great. Another example of a website that we've got different questions for. So income or business. We've got some people that only do tax resolution. Again, some people that only do tax planning or higher level advisory, like part-time CFO work. The questions can change. That's fine. The headline can change. It's just having the strategy and being intentional is usually a really, really big change on websites. So if you're getting traffic now, this is a really accessible thing and tactic you can employ. Fix your website conversion mechanism and get better pre-qualified leads so that you're not having to get on discovery calls and ask 10 questions before you even know if you want to be on that call, right? That's kind of the goal here. It's building trust. It's also saving you time, and it's leveraging automation and, good web design to, just do some simple things. But just most people don't have this. Noah, send emails. I'll join you on this, but you're going to take this one to start, and I'll just add snarky comments.
Okay, here's the thing. A lot of times we talk to people and they say, email? Really? Seriously? Okay, but let's think about what email really is. When someone does a search for you, there's a lot going on. They have a lot of choices. They have a lot of different businesses. They have options. They have people they can choose. You need to make it very compelling through Google reviews, through ranking, through keywords, through all the things we're talking about. That's going to compel someone to click through to your profile. This is kind of the psychology of marketing, the psychology of lead acquisition. But then what do we do once we have their attention? Well, what's interesting is email is the one undistracted platform still in existence. Social media is heavily distracted. Think about it. Scroll, flip. Like, it's so distracted. But with email, you get a captivated audience. And so email marketing is really the ace up the sleeve when you can do it right. Now, here's not a way I would recommend doing email marketing. Here is a templated newsletter going out once a month with generic content that some firm wrote that's going out to 50,000 other CPA firms. Don't do that. Okay. Or I don't know, do it. I don't care. But that's not what we do. And that's not what we recommend, because nobody's going to read it. And think about the constant bombardment of emails that we get into our inbox. I get a ton of them. Guess what happens to most of them? Delete and or unsubscribe. I don't want more junk in my inbox. Okay. But there are a few that I do subscribe to. There's some SEO people. I'm into travel. So there's a couple travel people but why do I actually take the time to open up their email on Monday morning when they come out? Because it's valuable. Because what they're writing is good. Because it's written in a relational style that's easy to read. Because it's short and punchy and to the point, and because I'm already interested in this thing, this person is writing on current things happening right now. They're providing ways for me to engage with them. Hey, if you have questions about this, reach back out. Okay, they're not pushing a product. They're not trying to sell me something. They're trying to engage and they're trying to build relationship with me. And that's the kind of email that works. And email is nurture focused. We've talked about these steps in the funnel. You got to get traffic first. If you don't get traffic, if you don't show up, all of this is for nothing if people can't find you. Well, once you get traffic, you have to get them to engage. You have to get them to go somewhere, get them engaged on your website. Okay, then you have to get them to convert. You have to get their information, name, email, phone number. That's what you want. But then that next stage of the funnel, unfortunately, is where most good prospects go to die, because you're not following up with them.
Right.
And think about the amount of times someone has gotten in touch with you. They filled out your contact page, or maybe it was a referral and you called them up once and they didn't answer. And then life goes on and you forget to call them, or they get buried in, some pipeline or paperwork, and you just forget. Well, that's a very hot lead that they reached out to you for a reason. If someone finds you in a Google search, bookkeeper near me, accountant near me, business tax, tax professional, tax resolution, whatever the search is, they find you. Google is an active search listing. Okay. Someone is looking for your services. Here's another one. Okay. Someone is looking for your services. They click on your profile because they need let's just go with bookkeeper. They need a bookkeeper. They fill out your form. Okay, the conversion, the engagement. They fill out your form. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's one and only reason they're going to fill out that form. There's only one reason they did a search for bookkeeper near me. They need a bookkeeper. They didn't do that for fun. I don't think most people search bookkeeper near me for fun. Maybe they do. I don't know. That's weird. But that's why they're doing it. But they fill out the form, and then if you don't have a plan on how to nurture with them, if you don't have a plan on how to engage with them, they're going to go somewhere else. They have a problem. You can solve that problem. But if you don't stay in touch with them and keep in front of them, they will go to someone else who can solve that problem and who does follow up with them. Roland has been with us for years. Roland's a hoot. He's great. But I love this quote from Roland because he did not trust us. He didn't believe us when we first started doing this for him years ago. I thought emails were stupid and would never work. And please, we know he's not the first person who's kind of raised an eyebrow at us when we say email marketing works. But guess what? They do, because his clients write back to him about how much they love the emails. He expected people to unsubscribe, but he's only gotten positive responses. He's not the only one. We hear this from our clients all the time, especially new firms that jump in with us where they have a database of 200, 500, 1,000 clients. I don't know how many clients you have. Even if you only have 20 clients, that's great. But you start providing them value. You start providing them good information, and it's going to nurture and retain your current clients. And it's going to follow up with prospects that get into your funnel.
Noah, can I add a little bit here? I was interviewing someone on a podcast that's a friend of mine in our industry a couple of weeks ago, and we were just riffing off the mic before we started about, why email marketing in particular is so powerful. And it's because I think the disconnect here in our industry, and for, potentially some of you here listening to this webinar now, is you've just never seen it work. So that's one side of it. But the other side of it is that you don't see yourself probably the way that you should. Most people are terrified of taxes, or they're at least like, I don't want to touch this and deal with it. So they're actually looking for someone that they can trust, who is giving them not only a great service because you're doing their books well and you're getting their taxes done well, but maybe you can speak to other things in addition to just that area. So you're not just with our email service and what we'd recommend that you do. We're not just harping on, here's my services, here's my offering, here's my pitch. We position our emails to talk about lots of synergistic topics written in first person with some authority, so that you are in the prospect and your clients, existing clients' minds, that financial safe harbor. People are really looking for that. And again, most of our industry at best sends a newsletter. Those that sit down and write a first person email that's relationally written with value will win in the long run. It is about trust. Why do you lose a client? They lost trust in you most of the time, or they found trust in someone else. Sometimes it's pricing too, right? I get that. But like a lot of times when I hear about people that are having high cancellation or just high churn rate, it's because they're experiencing something that I call a high level of perceived indifference from their base of clients. They don't think you care. They don't think you care. And so you can scratch that itch by firing off first person. Don't make it flashy. You don't need a lot of graphics. Just talk about things that you're dealing with. I was meeting with a client last week and we're talking about buying a building for his business, or some loan he was looking to get. He's looking to expand, or he's going to acquire a business. Or I met with a family that had their taxes screwed up for the last few years, and here's what I had to do. And just so glad I was able to help them and serve them. And if that's you, I can help. I'm just giving you some ideas. Our emails are pretty long and they really do work. And we write them the way we do based on data, market research, experience, and it really will work. So this is like Noah said on the front end. This is your ace up your sleeve. If you do write regularly, even if that's monthly, emails to your clients just on things that you're curious about, that you're interested in, speak lay people language. You don't have to put on like tax code hat, although you can at times. If you just try and walk that line of offering value, being the expert, people are looking for that. And that's maybe news to some of you, maybe not all of you, but that's what we found with email marketing. Okay. Next, you need to follow up with your leads. I've got 3 more areas to hit and about 15 minutes to do it. So I think we can do it, but we're going to have to 5 minutes per, Noah. We got to speed up. But that's also a classic for you and I. We go longer at the beginning and we go quicker at the end. So forgive us if we go a little faster through these next few sections. Let's pretend you've got that lead. They've opted in. You're writing them weekly emails. Now we're talking about closing them. You got to follow up with them and have the system to do so. So the email section we just hit is a part of that. Here's what I'm really hitting at here. You need a CRM/sales pipeline. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to who their sales pipeline is sticky notes or emails in their inbox or maybe a note in their iPhone. That's not a system. And if you get a good lead, you just don't want them to slip through the cracks. You don't want them to slip through the cracks. So this goes back to how we build websites, that we get them to give us their information and we start emailing them. We then also add them to our software, which is called Client Stack. And so that's how we help our clients stay clear on what's happening with their leads and their clients as well. Some of Client Stack is, kind of practice management focused. Some of it is, new lead focused. But I want to show you just a little bit about, or talk to you a little bit about Client Stack. And so with all these other things done, your website's built, you've got social media going, your Google page ranking, you've got to have a system that helps you keep things organized. And most people don't have that. And so this is a place where you can just generally say, I know where all of my leads are at any given point, and I can go and see what's happened with them or what's not happened with them. So I know what the next step is. I know that I've tried to call them and they didn't pick up. I know that they scheduled an appointment and they didn't show up, so I need to send them a reminder. This is just normal, right? It's very rare that someone finds your site, fills out the form, shows up to the first appointment, and closes on the spot. We love that when that happens, right? That's great, but that's just not normal. It's not completely abnormal, but that's not the norm. It's a cycle, it's a process. And so a part of marketing is sales. So at a minimum, I think you've got to have a process that addresses this. When you get a new lead, does anything happen? How do you keep track of them? And then how do you get positive feedback from them back to getting that review once they're really a happy client? Do you have a system to make that happen? For us, that's Client Stack. So Client Stack is a CRM. It's a review generation tool. It's a sales pipeline, and it's a whole lot more. But this is what we go. So this is kind of blending, like this is a demo of what we do, but also a tactic of what you can do. If you were to work on your business for a couple of hours and just focus on your sales pipeline, where are leads going to live? Whether they're from a networking event, whether they're from an online source, whether it's a referral that a friend emailed me or a current client emailed me, you've got to have a system that helps you stay clear on where those people are and what's happened with them. Client Stack does that out of the gate. There are lots of other sales softwares. Some tax softwares, of course, are getting into this space as well. I've heard great things about a number of softwares with kind of how they help with this area. I would simply say that tax softwares are best at their specialty. And sometimes when softwares try and bolt on second and third and fourth areas of emphasis, they get less at those areas. And so I don't want you to have a software for everything. Client Stack can consolidate a ton of different softwares for our clients. It's got calendaring, it can send emails, it can schedule clients, it's got a sales pipeline, a review generation tool. This is how we got that guy in Fargo 20 reviews in a month. It does all these things, but I want you to have something. So that's the tactic, is if you're getting leads and you're getting traffic, but you have no sales pipeline specifically, that's a gap in your funnel and something that you need to address. Facebook and LinkedIn.
Let's talk social media. We got a couple of minutes. There are a lot of ideas and conceptions around social media. If I have to post to social media to get all these new clients, and it's like, well, no, think about where your clients are going to find you. They're going to Google. Google is 85, 90% of the search ranking nationwide. Google wins. We know that. Okay. But social media can support all of that. Social media is going to build brand awareness. Okay. Facebook, LinkedIn specifically, but we talked about this earlier, Google Business Profile as well. Your Google profile is another place where you can post those social media posts. It's also another place where we can add more keywords. The more keywords associated with your business in Facebook, in LinkedIn, in the Google profile, those keywords matter for your ranking. So in a lot of ways, social media posting is actually less about client acquisition, more about brand awareness and Google ranking. That's really the purpose. But think about it. Someone who needs a bookkeeper isn't going to go to Facebook to find a bookkeeper. That's not where they're going to go. They're going to go to Google. Well, but social media is going to help. So we do recommend posting on a daily basis, but it goes back to that same EAT acronym we talked about with blogging. It's not just are you posting, it's what are you posting? Are you posting keywords that are specifically related to your business? Is it timely in nature? Things happening right now in the market? What type things are you posting? Because that affects it. So don't just post, here's a picture of the office cat. I don't know. You could do that if you want. That's kind of fun. Like, that's relational, I guess. It's going to have zero SEO implications. So don't go posting like cat pictures of, the office mascot and think that that's going to help you get more clients. It's not. You're going to be spinning your tires in your mud. But with everything we've talked about, you can either passively have an online presence, or you can actively and proactively do the right things to actually make this work very hard for you. Mm-hmm. This is all going to help. So what's the strategy? Post every day. Okay. Post every day. Yes, that's a lot of work. No, most people don't have time for it. Yes, that's why most businesses do not do anything on social media, because who has time to write 5 keyword content, targeted, focused posts 5 days a week and post them all? You shouldn't be doing that. Stay in your lane. Like, stay in your lane as a tax industry business owner. You shouldn't be writing content for social media every day. That's why we do that for our clients, because we know the power that it can do. But you have to target the right prospect and you have to engage with them. And I
Mm-hmm.
hope you're noticing a thread and you're noticing a theme with everything we're talking about. It's not just about existing. It's about engaging with prospects, engaging with clients,
Right.
engaging with follow-up, engaging with nurture. This is what is going to turn that corner. If you have a business that's maybe been a little bit stagnant, maybe you have places you're trying to get to, maybe you have goals, is my guess. We all do. This is part of owning a business. You should have places you're trying to get to with the firm. And maybe you've kind of been a little bit reliant on word of mouth referrals. Again, I wish we could do a little hand up because that's where most businesses are. And I don't get me wrong, I love referrals. I love word of mouth. But you are dependent on somebody else recommending your business. And if they don't recommend your business, you don't grow. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. That's fine. But if you are trying to actively grow, you have to have this stuff built out. It's not like, should you have this built out, right? It's you have to,
Right.
because this is where it comes from. I don't know. These are some
Here's
examples.
some examples of posts that we've got for you guys. We can talk about these. I agree with Noah. This is something that you should do and do with intention. And it also impacts Google's algorithm. So social media content posting to Facebook is not the biggest factor for Google's algorithm, but it is a factor. So again, back to sending as many signals as you can to Google. I want to do everything that gives me a slight edge for my clients, whether they're in a big market where that matters even more, right? If you want to rank in Chicago, Dallas, LA, New York City, lots of competition. Do everything you can to get a slight edge with Google. And yes, Facebook posts can generate activity. They certainly can. But I like to focus on the Google side because algorithmically it's significant and it's a great thing to outsource. Like whether you do it to me or someone else, you should be posting regularly to LinkedIn and Facebook at a minimum. Maybe someday we'll do a webinar and include Reddit, but Reddit and forums are actually growing in relevance to Google as well. So if you do a search for most any local business right now, I bet you'll find a thread from Reddit or another forum site. And so that's actually something that we're going to be looking at in the future, is offering some type of service to help post in forums. But that's just another little freebie. Okay, I've got a couple minutes and I want to hit a big area quickly. So hear me. This is a big area and I'm going to hit it quickly. And I've got an entire presentation on CPA Academy focused on ads exclusively. So if you're asking yourself, hey, Christian, that's great. How long will all this take if I'm just getting started to kind of build my firm? And I would say, yeah, ranking on Google doesn't happen overnight. Building an email list doesn't happen overnight. Some of you might already have a big customer database that we can already start emailing. Some of you might already have some presence, but a lot of what we're talking about takes some time to build. Consistency, intention, you will get there. You will get there. I've seen so many people get there. It's not a matter of if, it's only when, if you follow the steps. However, advertising, of course, is paying for leads. And so if you're looking at, kind of your marketing plan right now and, your sales goals, your revenue goals, and you need leads now, you can run a Google ad campaign. There's lots of ways to run ads, right? Facebook or Meta, YouTube, LinkedIn. There's lots of spots that will take your money. But the tactic here is that we really have found Google ads to be incredibly effective for our customers, especially when they already have a well-built site and reviews. So I want to say that clearly. Sometimes ads don't work for people because they have 0 reviews or a really bad website. So where you're driving the traffic isn't starting conversations, and people are going to do their homework. They might click your ad and then do some research on you and see that you've got 0 reviews or your last review was from 5 years ago. So everything we've talked about up to this point actually makes ads work really well. And it also can lead to quick results and lead flow. And so whether you're looking for tax preparation clients during tax season, or if you're looking for bookkeeping clients year round, some of our best performing ad campaigns are for tax resolution, which is again, usually year round. It's something that can get you fast wins. And it's also something that when you're organically ranking on Google, you're in that map section, your Google profile is showing up with reviews, and maybe your website's showing up beneath that too. Well, why not have a third instance of your business at the top of the page in the ads section? Stack that first page with your business. It's not a bad idea to pay for ads for that reason alone, that you're just occupying more real estate. But ads is the tactic for quick wins. Keyword targeting is going to make or break your ad campaign, positive and negative keywords that you list out that you want your campaign to rank for. So keywords I want it to show up for, keywords I don't want it to show up for. I'll just say on the negative keyword list, a really easy example is that you don't want your ads to show up when someone types in the word free or cheap. So that's going to be a keyword that we eliminate from our ad campaign. I'm not going to want my ads to show up for free tax services or free bookkeeping or cheap accounting. So there's some levers back there. But if you run an ad campaign without knowing that that's possible, you're going to lose money because Google will just serve up your ad to lots of people and lots of keywords. You'll get lots of clicks and your budget on your ads will be burned through really quick and you'll have no good leads. So ads works when you have an intention. Again, kind of this is the thread from today. Be intentional. Know what you want to go after with your ad campaign. Pick some targeted keywords and pick some keywords you know you don't want to rank for. You don't want to show up for. That's where ads starts to really work because you get efficient advertising spend. Efficiency is the goal. So I hit this at the beginning. I'm going to hit it at the end. Anyone that wants our help, you get a strategy session from us. Noah, myself, a few other team members, we'll get on a call with you. We'll look at what's going on for your business and give you an audit and just tell you what's happening with your site, your Google presence. We'll talk about emails and social media. And even if you don't sign up, which is okay. Like obviously we're a business. We want to grow and get more clients, but we don't work with everyone. We don't. We're a little more focused on obviously being effective and growing your business and not just checking a box. And so growth doesn't have to be dramatic. Growth can be a few clients a month. It can be 100 clients a month. It just depends on what your goals are. But we don't fit for everyone. And so to start that conversation, we offer this free consultation at taxproleads.com. There's no pressure. It's going to be Noah or I or someone like us that, is just going to talk with you, look at what's going on. I want to hear from you, what's happening, what's not happening. And if it's a good fit, great. We'll talk more and send you a proposal. And if not, then we'll at least drill in more to what's happening for you right now. And so if anything we talked about today is interesting, it's a thread you should pull on more. You need to spend more time on this and you just don't have time. I'm giving you a free session with experts in our industry to just spend another 30 minutes thinking about this. So that's the initial ask. Let's think about this a little more. And if it makes sense for us to help you, that will become obvious and apparent. And if not, I always want to add value in those consultations regardless. So we're not heavy on the sales, tactics. That's not our methodology. We just want to teach and educate and let those things come about naturally. TaxProLeads.com, a free review. That's our offer today. I hope this was helpful, guys. I think we're, a minute out. Look at that. We nailed it. Noah, good job, man.
Look at us. Nailed it.
Look at us. Who would have thought? It was a pleasure to be with you all, and we look forward to talking with you soon.